goes topic speakers. I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop
today's the day where I'm gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Oh, this is the better life. Oh, this is the better life. Oh, this is the better life for me and you. For me and you.
Hey guys, what's going on? Ben Wu here, your host for CMA Connected, presented by Sirius XM. It's Friday today, so thanks for tuning in, or maybe you're watching this on demand. But you're going to get your learn on either way, because today we're going to go deep diving into the world of Pioneer Electronics, and something they're super proud of, and something you should be aware of, actually, and we're going to learn all about it today, is that Pioneer is a huge, juggernaut-sized manufacturer globally of loudspeakers for vehicles. And when we say that's a big deal, because there's a lot of brands that make fantastic speakers out there, but how many of them go through the processes, the engineering, the manufacturing capability, and the OEM, relationships that they have that Pioneer does? Well, you saw in that little quick clip in the video that we had in the preview, just to give you an idea. But now we're going to go a little bit deeper, and we're going to find out exactly why Pioneer is such a leader when it comes to speaker manufacturing and the speaker offering that they have. So let's go ahead and invite our Canadian counterpart. Of course, he's our specialist, Mr. Robert Money from Pioneer. What's going on, Robert?
Hi, good, really good. How are you, Ben?
I'm very, very good today. It's Friday, so the weekend's ahead, but I didn't want to go to the weekend without learning about, the level at which Pioneer is engaged and involved with speaker manufacturing. That's what we're going to learn about today, isn't it? We're also going to have, we can't do this without the national trainer from Pioneer Electronics as well. His name is Harry Crowley. He's joined us before. He's made the time to join us once again. Let's get him on the screen. What's going on, Harry?
Good to see you, Ben. How's every little thing, brother?
Every little thing is fantastic, man. And like I was telling Robert, speakers is something that Pioneer takes uber seriously, right?
Absolutely. Ben, excuse me. Pioneer is a speaker company. This company was founded back in the 1930s as a speaker company, and it is still the most important part of our business today. I think that many people know Pioneer as a head unit manufacturer, that sort of a thing. We do so many speakers for so many different types of vehicles, so many speakers for so many different types of applications. It's hard to even imagine. At the Pioneer speaker factories, we build speakers for many different manufacturers, but like we build speakers for TVs, we build speakers for Bluetooth, portable speakers. We build speakers for cell phones. We build speakers for computers. And by the way, we build speakers for home electronics and parts. Maybe, who knows? Maybe that your favorite home electronic speaker, Pioneer has built part of that speaker cone, or the speaker cone, or some other part of it, and sold it to that manufacturer because of the expertise inside Pioneer's engineering and manufacturing capabilities.
I'll tell you what, I got to share Corey Viancourt from DC Car Auto. He's seen that video. He's like, I want to be in that foam room. We're going to talk about that foam room in a minute, Corey. Listen, we've got a video that kind of illustrates.
I've been in that foam room.
Well, we're going to talk about that too. This video kind of illustrates in Japan, Pioneer, what the different elements and different facilities. It'll give you a good idea of what we're going to be discussing today, because we're going to break down the products for you guys, but we wanted you to understand physically what Harry's been talking about. So why don't we go to that video and we'll be right back.
Pioneer
is different from a technology perspective with regard to speakers especially. We have continued to develop and engineer technology about sound reproduction. Pioneer has invested in many different tools over our history, things such as our anechoic chamber, which is a room specifically designed to remove all reflections. So when we are testing and measuring a loudspeaker in this environment, we hear only the sound that is reproduced by the speaker itself. So it's a really accurate way to very closely monitor changes that we make when engineering a loudspeaker. We've grouped all of these test equipment and even specialized rooms together in one facility. And then reliability testing, materials testing, they all are in specialized labs. The reliability testing could be things for temperature and moisture and vibration, drop tests. Many of those different techniques that we use to really measure how a loudspeaker will perform in the real world. Throughout Pioneer's history, we have continued to evolve the loudspeaker technology that is applied, whether it's for home use, professional use, or car use. As all of those environments continue to change, we change the packaging or the materials or the way we develop loudspeakers for those environments. In this way, Pioneer has continued to invest in human resources, engineers, equipment, facilities, buildings, mostly centered around that Tohoku facility. An example of this technology is HPT.
次の特徴として、このように駆動系から出る振動と振動系から出る余計な振動というものを打ち消すような、音楽再生以外の余計な振動を発生しないという特徴があります。HVT 方式は主に低音再生、薄型で低音再生が得意な技術でありますので、今後サブウーハーのカテゴリーとかで伸ばしていきたいと考えております。例えば厚みがこのぐらいで壁一面ぐらいの振動板を動かすというようなサブウーハーも可能になることを考えております。
Through this one facility, we've got all of these people dedicated to speaker production, all grouped in the same facility, start to finish. And it really simplifies and makes our entire organization more efficient. And we can pass that on to the consumer, both in sound quality, in reliability, and ultimately in the economies of scale of building a product that is affordable to most consumers.
Wow. Like, I seen this video already, so we talked about it back in our spring training. But all it does is really illustrate, and for some reason, engineering just sounds so cool when it's said in Japanese. I don't know why, it just sounds that much cooler. Corey's on fire here. I want to share this, and I know you're going to address this. Pioneer is manufactured by Pioneer, one of only a handful that have their own manufacturing plant, if I'm not mistaken. Harry, how true is that statement?
That's exactly true. And I can't say what other speaker manufacturers or have their own plants, but I can tell you the large majority of electronic manufacturers today hire a facility to build a product to their specification. And they buy parts from other places, bring them to this final assembly plant that's owned by another organization. They rent some time there and they build a product for them. That is not what Pioneer does. For virtually, I shouldn't say virtually every one of our products. There are some of our products, in the marketplace that are manufactured in other facilities like that. That is the nature of manufacturing in 2021. But for the large majority of products that say Pioneer on the box, they are designed and manufactured at a Pioneer facility.
From creation to conception to completion, like the whole process, which I have to say, and to Corey's point, I was going to make that same point. I've sat in a lot of these trainings, guys. When it comes to speakers, the type of resources that you guys have, such as the foam room or the anechoic chamber that you referred to, and all the engineering, and down to the critical amount of control you have in the entire design / process of manufacturing, that is, I'm going to say second to none. I'm going to say world-class for sure, but very unique. And so when Pioneer puts out specs, and when you guys do like trainings on, why certain features are there, man, it's incredible to hear the stories and the reasoning behind each one of these features, because I have yet to be able to stump you guys. I've asked you everything from materials to design to cooling to whatever, and man, there's a reason for it. It wasn't because somebody else did it, so you had to you guys did it, and that's why it's there.
Yeah, I think the good point behind this, Ben, it's not because it's not just a linear process. So when we do development, most of the guys in the speaker world will do virtual design with aided with the computer software, and once they will complete that simulation process, then they will ask to different companies some parts to match their needs, and they will play with those pieces of the puzzle in a way to create the speakers they created artificially with the computer software, and then they will try it. So it's a most of the time trial and error process on their side. On our side, we will do that part, then the test in the anechoic chambers, and then we will do also multiple tests in different type of car in a way to confirm that our thought was right. And in some, and I should say most of the scenarios, then we'll go back to stage 1, then stage 2, stage 3 multiple time in a way to work on the details. And that's the reason why we know what we're doing about speakers, and why we, like you mentioned, it's from the design to the ear of the customers. We mastering all the process.
I think this specific connected episode, if you guys are tuning in, you dealers out there, you're going to want to pay attention, because there might be more to it than you thought. There's several layers to this conversation, including maybe segments that you weren't aware of. Now, I should note, we are not talking about anything outside of car. We're not talking about, because I mean, we can go all day about the marine speakers as well. That's another conversation. We're talking about car audio and all the different levels. So why don't we dive in?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Robert, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and put that full screen so we can go slide by slide.
Sir, sorry for that.
No problem at all. So there's that foam room again.
Full screen.
I'm calling it
the rubber room. Yeah.
The rubber room. For those who don't know what that is, I mean, Harry, real quick, 30 seconds. What is that all about?
Okay, it's an anechoic chamber, and what all the rubber in the room does is reduces the echo in the room, or reduces any reflections of the sound in the room. Really quick, if you're standing anywhere and you clap your hands together, the room that you're in causes this creates sound, but the room that you're in causes echoes, and that echo slowly decays away. In this room, there is no echo. When you're standing there and you talk, it sounds like the voice fell out of your mouth and just disappeared. You clap your hands, it's just dead. You can barely hear it. Hearing is an important part of your balance and your the way you negotiate the world around you. In this room, your hearing almost doesn't work. It's so odd. And what you can't really see here is, you can see how high this room is. This room is that far low as well. When you're in there, you're standing on a cable grid. And that room, these rooms are crazy expensive. That's why not every manufacturer has one.
I've been in an anechoic chamber before, and I can tell you, it's the closest word I could use is claustrophobic, but it has nothing to do.
It's strange.
It has nothing to do with the amount of space you're in. You're completely right. That whole deadening sound, it is weird. And it throws your sense of 3D placement in the world is kind of totally thrown off. So I totally agree.
The point of this room is that this room isolates the speaker. So when I put a microphone in front of a speaker here, I hear the speaker and I don't hear the room at all. I only hear the characteristics of the speaker, and that's what we want.
So it is the truest environment to really get the true specs out of that said loudspeaker.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, good. There you go. Perfect. So here we go. Hear more. No compromises. Absolutely true to the music. I think Harry just illustrated why, and this picture totally, backs that up.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
So with different step of process, we are doing what we're saying all together. So from the design to the car process, but when we did that and we managed the things to bring the product to the market for the customers, we also noticed that there's a different budget from different customers, different customer needs. So there's actually, if I can say it this way, that the best speakers development will be one speaker only that will produce all the bandwidth and that will suit all the needs for all the customers. But it's physically impossible to do that. I mean, a subwoofer need to move more air to reproduce bass, where tweeters need to move really quickly and fast in a way to reproduce crisp details in higher frequencies, where subwoofers can do it because of the mass and the woofer size. So as it is impossible to create the perfect speakers that will do all the bandwidth, it's also nearly impossible to create speakers that will suit all the customer needs. So we bring to the market different series of speakers in a way to offer to those different needs from different customers, the different sets of speakers that will match the needs of those customers. So when we're talking, and this is a repeated process for all the trainings we are doing with dealers. So the biggest issues we're seeing most of the time, and when we're having interaction with the customers and the dealers, is guys on the floor need to take more time to qualify those needs with their customers in a way to answer those needs with the right solution, because there's no good or bad speakers. There's no good or bad amplifiers. There's something that will fit specific needs. This is the same process for a car. I will not sell a truck when the guys need a performance car. So that's the process. So we split the series in different offer for the customers. We're starting with the G series and the WX series, where we qualify those as a good quality. So Ray, if you can explain a bit one of the key details of the series for the customers. So I think that will be a good thing.
So our G series are Pioneer's entry-level speakers. And I like to think of these as factory replacement speakers. Somebody comes into the shop and they need new speakers and they don't want to drop a bunch of money on it. This is the perfect upgrade to those factory speakers. And these come in 6.5, 6x8s, 4x6, 6x9s. You know, a small group of speakers that cover the largest majority of the vehicles that are on the road today. So if you have a factory in-dash receiver, the TSG series speaker matches up with that extremely well. Excellent technology, yet lower power handling capability, and that makes it a little bit more of an affordable speaker, really designed to be a factory replacement. We also had the WX speakers, which are the powered subwoofers. They kind of fit in this category as well. And the powered subwoofer is the simplest way that you can add some bottom into your vehicle. It's a speaker and an amplifier built into a proper enclosure. That proper enclosure, I can't say it I can't say it enough. The internal volume of this speaker is designed to go in this box. This amplifier is designed to operate this speaker in this box. They are extremely reliable, extremely easy to install, as installing amplifiers in a vehicle goes, and a perfect add-on to what you already have in the vehicle. That's TSG and WX. Great for what you have, adding on to it, giving you a simple upgrade, and extremely affordable.
And super critical to like your baseline business, right? I mean, this type of stuff, first of all, it's a brand name that's coming in at a price point. I want to say that because, you know, these are price point, these are budget minded, but yet still have the look and feel. I think any dealer who's ever played with this stuff will tell you, whether you're looking at the entry level at the G or the W, you know, the G series going up. I know we're going to go higher than this, but even at this level, there's a value to it from just the visual aspect because the design is there. And so many of the key, you know, I like selling, and I heard this often. You want to be, if you have the opportunity to have these speakers in hand, you want to put them in the customer's hands. I always encourage that because the touchy-feely thing is a big part of the sales experience. And with what Harry's about to show you guys today, it'll give you the tools to be able to demonstrate the differences and be able to, you know, we like the top-down sell. I always recommend top-down sell. We're kind of doing this in reverse, going up the hill. But once you know the features and the key features and benefits, put them in their hand and show them. And this is why you have to pay more, and this is why it's worth it. So, sorry, that was my little interjection. I like to kind of, you know, from a dealer's perspective, this is why you need this information.
Good. And I want to highlight something here, Ben, just because you mentioned it. So there's a lot of technologies, even if you look at the G series, which is the affordable series from Pioneer. So if you look on the chart below on the slide, so where we're comparing the G series with the competitor speakers, where we can see the distortion level on the mid to higher frequencies that are way lower on our side versus the competitor, or again some OEM speakers that most of the time it is the scenario where you will use those G series where you want to replace that OEM speakers. So the main reason why behind that result where we have low distortion is the use of one technologies even in that entry level pieces. I don't know if you can stop sharing my screen and share my camera. Can you do that?
You bet.
Yep.
So I will show you that little piece. What it is. It's a crossover, right?
It's like a crossover to me.
If I show you that piece here, it's a coil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a coil.
What's the use of a coil?
To split the frequency.
Well, yeah.
It's a filter, right?
Yeah.
So a coil is a low pass filter. What's that little thing?
Voice coil.
It's a voice coil. Look pretty similar, eh? So that's a coil as well. So the way it works is as it filtering frequencies here in a coil used for the speakers, it will have the same type of thing. So it's an inductor. If I'm moving the coil inside of the magnet, this will create some artifact, some distortion, inductance distortion, because it will change the coil size because of the more or less air I will have behind the magnet and the coil itself. So in many certain scenarios, if I go back to my shared screen, go back to the full screen mode, we have a 1 point here in 0.7 where you have little copper accent type of thing. So that addition to the design is a shorting ring, where most of the time you will see those shorting ring only in higher hand speakers from the competition. So the use of that shorting ring actually will create a kind of a shock absorber thing for the inductance in a way to control that fluctuation of inductance in a way to reduce the mechanical distortion created by the cone and the reaction of that inductance. So if the cone is moving, natural effect will be to increase or reduce that inductance, which will result in a change of the crossover point or the audio characteristic of the driver. So the use of that shorting ring is in fact used to minimize that variation of inductance, and the result is cleaner output from the vocal hand, so the mid, the higher frequencies, because we have a control over that inductance level, and we're absorbing it where we need to, and we're doing a full output where we don't need to. So this is small little things, small little details.
Well, hold on. You say
it.
Small little things. I'm going to say two things here. Number one, thank you so much for being the first one to actually explain what a shorting ring does, because nobody's ever explained that to me personally. So I'm sure people could benefit from that. Number two, this feature is also in the very entry-level speaker line.
Yes.
That is correct.
Very interesting. Something to note, guys. All right. Very good. Let's keep it going.
Okay, step up. A series. So actually, the A series is the biggest series we have in Pioneer. So this is I can say that represent 60-70% of our business, our market, because we have really a broad range of product offering that, starting with the subwoofers to the component set, different sets of coax, special application speakers. So even the one with the the guys who need to have a something installed on the rear shelf without cutting holes. So we have those type of tractor or truck series speakers that we can install, custom shape, custom fit. So this is really the all-in-one solution also, where you have a lot of tools for the installer at a great price point. So Harry, if you want to dig a bit with the customers.
Sure. The TSA series speakers are such a wide variety of products. That's why it's part of why it covers such a big part of our sales in North America. You know, you have everything from 3.5 to 5.25 to 6.5 and 6x8 and 6x9 and subwoofers. You also have tweeters. You have and specialty speakers like 4x10s and 4x6 or something like surface mount speakers. All of this is part of Pioneer's TSA series group of speakers. This is a higher power handling capability speaker and a little bit more technology than the G series speakers. So if you're going with an aftermarket head unit or an amplifier, an aftermarket amp, you want to look at TSA series speakers as the better option for you rather than TSG. And a couple of years back, in the TSA series speakers, we introduced the multi-fit adapters. Now, the multi-fit adapters are for 6.5-inch speakers and 6x9 speakers, because you can look at 30 different doors that fit a 6.5-inch speaker, and you could really need 30 different adapters. These adapters, you can just take a pair of pliers and snap off the parts that you don't want, and they are a plug-in fit for loads of different vehicles. The same thing goes with the 6x9s. We include the multi-fit adapters in the box to make them fit into tons of different vehicles. The important thing about these multi-fit adapters, though, is they're not just hard pieces of plastic that you run a couple of screws into and that holds the thing in the door. It does that, but these are a high-density resin that reduces vibration that's transferred from the speaker into that metal door or other location. So the bracket we're using to mount the speaker, the bracket itself, is reducing vibration and giving us better sound quality from that installation location. And installation locations are up, down, right, left, wherever they are in a vehicle, if you're going to replace them in the same spot that the factory put them there. This creates trouble for us in the car. And that trouble is the speaker high in the door? Is it low in the door? Where is that and compared to the other speaker over there? To counteract that trouble, we've created speakers that we have what we call an open and smooth listening characteristics. Open means it has a wide dispersion characteristic. It spits the sound all over the inside of the vehicle. You don't have to be directly in front of these speakers to get an excellent listening experience because of that wide dispersion characteristics. And the smooth part of open and smooth refers to the transition from the tweeter to the mid-bass driver. It's not a harsh transition. This is a smooth transition that really creates the sound of one speaker rather than two speakers stuck together in the same location. Open is wide dispersion characteristics. Smooth means a smooth transition from the tweeter to the mid-bass driver.
So the only question I have is, what is this cool diffuser I see in the bottom of this page?
Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you can look at the tweeter itself here on a close view in the camera, the centerpiece actually is not only cosmetic type of design. So the reason why we have that disc with the pinhole in the front of the tweeter, so in the center, is to have a softer on axis. So in the design, we took time to match that type of mechanical integration with the dome. So it will create a softer on axis response, but because it's open on the side here, you will create a scenario where you will have more output from the off axis. So this will blend, as Ari mentioned, in a way to create a scenario where the on-axis output of the tweeter versus the off-axis output of the tweeter will give you the same timbre matching or the same audio characteristics. So if you're having a source on the left versus the right, even if you're more kind of on axis on the right side because of the way it's installed in the car door itself versus the left side, where it is more off axis, then the natural output of those speakers will be more natural and will blend together more naturally. So you still have the opportunity to use EQ, which is different from left to right in some scenario with good DSP. But this, for me, is like using a Band-Aid, because it's something that you are fixing at the end of the process instead of having something at the beginning of the process that will create the best scenario for you.
Open and smooth, loud and clear. Got it.
Step up. D-series. So we're a bit more
before you
serious
start
now.
that, I have a question for you. From a dealer perspective, what, like most, our listeners are mostly independent dealers. Where are they getting in? Like, where are they putting their investment as far as the bulk of their business? Is it with the previous one or this one?
If you look at the independent retailer, we will most of the time work with the D-series,
Right.
Z-series for the qualified dealers, because those two series will match most of their needs, because we're using more audiophile, so it's a bit more niche product than the A series is. But if you look actually with the A series, bang for the buck is really a nice go-to. So that will give you high performance with lower price point, with all in the box. So the adapter plate is really a cool addition in the box with the A series, where the competitors have not such type of offer as flexible and as powerful as the adapter plate we have. But if you're more serious type of listener, so more audiophile type of listener, then you will jump to the D series and Z series. So the D series will give you more detail, more refined sound versus the A series, and at the same time, that D speakers will give you a bit more of bass output and bass to mid bass transition. So the kind of kick that most people, especially young people, love to hear in North American market will be really welcome to hear the D series performance.
And the other thing I wanted, because Harry mentioned this, so the initial bass series is meant to go with original factory power, simple OEM replacement will play fine.
Yeah.
The second series, the A series, aftermarket radio, source unit rather, and potentially if you want to upgrade to power with an power amp, that'll be fine.
Yeah,
now, will these also perform?
Good
will these
point.
perform with an aftermarket radio, or would you recommend power, amplified power?
D series will be able to achieve a good output and good response from the aftermarket radio itself. So our MOSFET 50 will be able to give you an excellent performance with the D series. So it's still efficient driver, but those drivers will shine if you're
like power. They like power. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool.
The D series speakers, I just want to throw in here, the woofer cone is so important. It's such an important part of the speaker, of course, but the material that the woofer cone is made of is super important. And this started as paper, and paper is still a very good material for making speakers. But with a woofer cone, what you want is speaker cone. You want something that is very strong and very rigid, yet also very light. And so these two things are kind of opposite of each other. Strong and rigid is iron. Iron, though, not so light. Okay, so we are looking for a combination of materials that make something very strong and rigid so the speaker cone doesn't bend out of its shape. If it bends out of its shape, we're going to hear that as distortion. Now, if the speaker cone is very strong and rigid and keeps its shape, it has to be light enough for the amplifier to control the motion of that speaker cone. So these things are very complex, and finding the right balance between them is what's all important in creating a proper speaker cone. So with Pioneer speakers, we start off with injection molded polypropylene speaker cones, and that's in the G series speakers. We upgrade that in the A series speakers for better power handling capability. Here in the D series speakers, we have aramid fiber interlaced injection molded polypropylene. Aramid fiber is Kevlar for it, for lack of a better word. Aramid fiber, or Kevlar is a particular brand of it, but it's bulletproof material. It is in very small, more or less ground up into very, very small fibers, and then mixed in with that liquid plastic that's then injected into the mold. Once that's injected into the mold, you now have aramid fiber or bulletproof material in the injection molded polypropylene. You have a speaker cone that is very strong and very rigid, yet also very light, and has excellent tonal characteristics for your listening experience.
Good.
Rob, so maybe Ben seems to have disappeared on us, so let's just keep it rolling.
Okay. In addition to what you mentioned, Harry, so we still have the shorting ring. So the shorting ring we have in the G series, A series, that one's a bit bigger because we want to have a better control of it. So as you mentioned, for the weight and rigidity, that is a constant fight. To have those balance between the two in a way to create the best speaker. So shorting ring is about the same. So if I'm increasing that shorting ring to have a better control of that inductance, this will need me to increase the magnet size, to increase the magnetic flux from the unit itself. So again, it's a balance as it is for the cone. So we're using a oxygen-free copper ring here with bigger mass of a shorting ring in a way to create even a more better control. So we're pushing the limit a bit further. In addition to that as well, if you look at the cone shape or the curve shape of the cone itself on the graph on the left side, so you'll notice that we're not having a cone which is a flat structure. We have a curvilinear shape that we call at Pioneer that help us to have a better audio spread. So again, give you a wider audio listening output of the speakers instead of a more directional type of listening, because we're dealing with off-axis 100% of the time. In car, we developed that cone shape specifically to increase that audio output in a way to achieve even more off-axis efficiency. So if you look on the other point as well, so with that tweeters on the D series, we're adding swivel tweeter for the component set, but we're also having a swivel tweeter for the coax speakers as well. And that is the same tweeter construction, tweeter size we are using in our 6.5 coax or 6x9 coax that we're using in a component set. So there is no compromise in quality because you go on a coax speakers instead of a component speakers. So that is a really, really good addition for that.
We could save that conversation and debate for another day between the coax versus the component system, but I do appreciate the maneuverability of the tweeter for positioning. You know, you spend a lot of time talking about on-axis, off-axis performance, and just having those little adjustments available makes a huge difference at the final install level.
Yeah. So even if we have a widespread and we made the tools right or the best we can, every detail counts. So adding those type of swivel tweeters, not just for component but for coax, especially because most of the door installation we do are a lower section of the door panel. So if we're installing coax because of customer decision or environment decision, then at least we are able to work with that swivel tweeter in a way to improve the audio output. Because and again, this brings me back to one thing's quick before moving up to the Z series. If we look at those tweeters things, we are using a wide band tweeter. That's part of the requirement for the open and smooth from Pioneer. And the reason why we're using a wide bandwidth tweeter that goes as low as 2500 hertz for some application is because we want to have that audio staging higher in the car. And we want also to have this to blend perfectly no matter what's the type of music you're listening. So if I have a music with a male singer as an example versus female singer, if I have a wrong match between those crossover points, so if I have a really a narrow bandwidth tweeter, this will create, when I'm listening, scenarios where when I will listen to a female singer, as an example, my staging will be high, but when I will listen to a song with a male singer, the sound stage will be low, which is not the thing I want to have. So I want something to have right in front of my eyes. So that is one good things to have.
Yeah. Just to show you that people are paying attention. See, they notice. Oh, those have a shorting ring, says Corey. Yes, Corey. They all have shorting rings, is what I learned today. I hope you learned that too. All right.
So moving up, the best of the best for Pioneer. So Z series, when we did the development of those speakers, we did something really great with Toku teams. And the idea behind the design was to bring audiophile quality without all the little gadget and fancy things that will create a high quality speakers, which result in flat response, high res certified speakers. But as soon as you are adding those fancy things, this also increase to a fancy price, things that we don't want to. So we wanted to create a audiophile quality speakers, but keep the price attractive for most customers on the market. So we're not talking about a 4-digit price tag here, but something that I know that if I'm saying affordable for some people, they will say, what, $400 for speakers affordable to you? But versus a $1,500, yes, this is really affordable.
Yeah, this is the speaker range. Sorry, go ahead, Harry. Go ahead.
These types of speakers, the Z series or Z series speakers, these are really comparable in an audio quality sound comparison to speakers that are $800 or $1,000 or $1,500. That's the point Robert's making there. These aren't cheap speakers by any stretch, but you can compare them to other speakers that are double the price, and they stand up extremely well. Now, these are high-res audio certified speakers. And what that means to you if you're a Pioneer dealer is you can build a 100% high-res audio certified audio chain. Your in-dash receiver can be high-res audio certified, DMH, WT 7600 NX, 8600 NX, all of the 2021 NX receivers, high-res audio certified. Your amplifier, GM-DX series amplifiers from Pioneer are high-res audio certified, and the Z series speakers are high-res audio certified. So from top to bottom, you can have high-res audio certified products in that vehicle connected together. Strong, weakest link in the chain is creates the chain, right? This is all very strong links in the chain. And I like to talk about speaker cones, so I just want to jump in on that topic here. This the TS-Z65CH, the higher end component package of Z series speakers, has, to me, one of the most interesting speaker cones that Pioneer has ever made. It's a 3-layer cone. And it's hard to imagine, how do you get 3 layers of a speaker cone to stay together? I mean, what do? Do you load it up with super glue, or how do you get them to stick together? That's crazy, and it becomes so heavy. It can't be done. If you're really good at speaker manufacturing, you can do interesting things like this concept. And Ben, I don't know about you, but I like a good grilled cheese sandwich. All right,
okay. I like where you're going with this. It's almost lunchtime. Keep going.
Yes, it is. So when I first saw these speakers, that's what I thought of, a grilled cheese sandwich. These have 3 layers. The top layer is a aramid fiber layer. The middle layer is injection molded polypropylene. The back layer is cellulose fiber or paper. So that injection molded polypropylene on the middle is hot when it's injected into place. The other 2 layers are pressed down together to create one speaker cone that never comes apart. A lot like that grilled cheese sandwich, if you think about it just a little bit. Top and bottom and a little cheese in the middle. This is the same concept. That's why it stays together and doesn't come apart. No glue fails or anything else. And you get the tonal characteristics of the paper, the cellulose fiber, and the aramid fiber on the front and back. You get the strength and rigidity of the injection molded polypropylene. It's a excellent woofer cone.
Talking about rigidity, Ben, if you can do a close-up view on my camera, are you able to see the basket with my thumb underneath?
Yep.
Okay, so I love to do that with the guys. So talking about rigidity, look at my thumb, no trick. Look at the cone. Can you see any area where you see my thumbs out of the cone? No, the cone is moving as a one piece.
You can't see his thumb pushing through that cone anywhere. That cone moves as one rigid piece, never bending out of its shape.
So
because if it's moved, if it's flexed, this will create mechanical distortion.
Okay, before we get into mechanical distortion, I just want to comment on this. So, I really like what you said there, Harry. You guys have literally taken three of the most, renowned materials, right, for cone materials, right, between the injection molded polypropylene, the paper, as well as aramid fiber, Kevlar, whatever you want to call it, and made a synergy, a hybrid of all three to extract the characteristics that each one have, because there are speakers that are made individually of each one of these materials that you just mentioned.
Certainly, yeah.
Right. So this is like technology at the highest level. I think it's innovative. It's if you found a way to kind of merge and extract the properties that we want out of each material. And I'm dying to know what that sounds like. So thank you for piquing my interest.
Well, the Z series speakers are what it sounds like. They are delightful to listen to. They are absolutely wonderful. Can you buy more expensive speakers and that sound better? In my opinion, yes, you can. But you got to go big money if you're going to do it. You've got to go big money if you're going to do it. For $400 or so that these speakers cost, they're fabulous. They are fabulous.
And this is from the tweeter to the subwoofers, by the way, guys. So we think about every little detail. So just quick mention on that subwoofers, we're achieving a Q of 707 when the subwoofers is installed in this recommended sealed box. And that sealed box is only 0.6 cubic feet, which is really small. And that match customer needs for today. So they no longer want to have big subwoofer box grabbing all the space. So even in that low volume, we have a flat frequency response of 0.07 of the Q, which means I will have no bump in a certain point of the frequency response of a subwoofers with once installed in the box. So it's a flat response, natural smoothing out curve. So no loss in the lower end, no big bump in the higher frequency of the bass, so which means a more natural type of output, which is the goal of the Z series. So natural output.
Guys, Twaron, I see a term here. Sorry, before we go back to is that the same cone construction as in the mid drivers?
Yep.
So that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the Twaron is the same. So say similar construction, a bit stiffer because we're dealing with more cone excursion and more mechanical stress, of course. But we're using Twaron. For the guys who don't know who's Twaron, it's a trademark. It's the original material, not a cheap copy. And it's coming out of Akzo Nobel. The biggest competitor for Akzo Nobel will be DuPont Kevlar. So Twaron is Kevlar for type of guys who's instead of saying refrigerator will say frigidaire.
Got it. Okay, got it. But we're talking about that aramid fiber type situation. The other thing I noticed is, man, that 10 that's the depth is pretty shallow.
Yeah, it is.
So I know we're running out of time here, but I want to say this one thing before we got to move on. The proper internal volume of the box is super critical. I think that everybody knows that. But what happens sometimes in modern shops is modern shops try to save time by buying boxes that fit their most popular subwoofers. Maybe those are Rockford or JL or something like that. Pioneer subwoofers aren't as popular. I'm not afraid to say that. So what happens is then the shop will take that Pioneer woofer when it's sold and put it into a box that's too big or too small, designed for that very popular JL or very popular Rockford woofer. Now, all of a sudden, you put the Pioneer speaker into a box that it's not designed for, and if you're unhappy with the performance of that woofer, you should blame yourself. The woofer performs great when it's in the proper box. You've got to make the effort to put it in the proper enclosure.
Very good point. Very good point. All right. And this is a small enclosure, like 0.6,
0.6
for a 10 with a shallow mountain depth on top of that. So you can be creative with the shape of the box to fit into places. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's keep going. We do have a very short time left. So let's go.
Okay. Can you switch to a video on that slide, Ben?
So this was the mechanical stress test that I'm going to play it here.
Yes. So what you're seeing on the left versus the right is the rendering of cameras we're doing when we're doing tests. So it's a high-speed camera, complex camera, where we're doing mechanical stress analysis of the cone itself. So on the left side, where you are seeing typical reaction, where the center of the movement will be initiated from the center, which is the voice coil. So you'll see the mechanical distortion of the cone going through the outside of the suspension. So each single type of bump or red things versus green, which is not constant, is mechanical distortion. This means it's not the audio output that is on the recording. It's distortion. On the right side with the Pioneer Z series, this is what you can have from a Z series subwoofers.
That's pretty impressive. Not much to say about that. Pretty obvious what this is showing here. So thank you for that. All right.
Last but not least, because it's a growing market in Canada, we have those since a while in Latin America and Russia. We want to take time with you to talk a bit about those little beasts here for the guys who want to being really loud, disturb the neighbor, or the guys who want to recreate the last concert he did 2 years ago because of the current situation. So this is the Pro Series. Harry,
Pro Series speakers, I'll give it real quick because I know we're out of time here. Pro Series speakers are about playing it loud and playing it clear. And you have a couple of different products here, a tweeter, a mid-bass driver, and a woofer. And you see on the tweeter and the mid-bass driver, you have the bullet in there. Some of us want to call it a phase plug. Like if you're an old schooler like me, you want to call this a phase plug. This helps to give you a clean signal, a clean dispersion from the both sides of the speaker together, not interfering with one another. So you're getting a very clean signal, or I'm sorry, a very clean audio output from this tweeter and this mid-bass driver. It also has a thermal characteristic to it. It acts to a certain extent as a heat sink to help dissipate the heat from that high energy that you're pushing through these speakers for the high volume. So the Pro speakers are about loud and clear, and becoming more popular in Canada on a regular basis.
I'm going to jump in here. We did a whole CMA live about this as an emerging category in Canada, much more popular in the Latin America area of the world, as well as in Russia. These are guys that want to come in. They almost prefer hearing their sound with all the doors open than sitting in their seat. So if you have a customer that wants to be heard, they want to party it up. They want to roll up to an outdoor event and just open up all the doors and let everybody know that they have the loudest system on the planet. This is your customer. The guy comes in and you sold him expensive subs and he keeps on blowing them, probably because you haven't qualified the customer right. I want to go quickly to a question here while I have Harry. Can you just quickly explain the difference from the car audio speakers to the Pro audio speakers? What are the main differences?
Rob, go ahead.
Okay, difference between Pro and car. Pro is open show, so which means those speakers are designed to perform at their best when they are in a open air situation. So like having a party outside. Young people also are buying those speakers to create their own heavy box when they want to play.
There's also a price point. They're surprisingly affordable.
This is really affordable. I think it's around like that 12 inches at the retail is lower than $300 for 12 inches that will give you 105 dB. So which is really, really great. As a quick comparison, that 12 inches compared to most of the car subwoofers will achieve 8-10 times the output by using the same amplifiers in the car.
Efficient. That's the other thing. Super
because they are super efficient. So this is two type of applications. So if you're a daily commuter, want to enjoy classic music, nice music, then the Z series is the go-to. If you want to have great listening, great quality, but you're playing between rock, jazz, a pop song or whatever, then the D series can be a go-to. If you want to have something affordable with OEM unit, but want to embrace a bit more details, then the A series or again the G series is the go-to. But if you want to have something really loud, recreate. Again, if you love to enjoy live concert, you're
outdoor
going to
live,
concert,
especially outdoor live concert. Like
that's the go-to.
Yeah, outdoor live concert. This is it. This is what you want. Because we've seen some crazy stuff. If you take time to Google this, you see door panels with insane amount of mid-bass drivers. You open the trunk and it's just a wall of stuff, and it's all meant to be outward facing.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's more cone. I think that in those cars there's more cone area than vinyl in the car.
Yeah, absolutely possible. Okay, does that wrap up the presentation, Rob?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's take that down. So, guys, what did we learn today? We learned a couple. Let's recap quickly here. Pioneer is a serious world-class manufacturer of vehicular loudspeakers. Check. Full control, design, engineering, manufacturing facilities, the whole 9 yards. One of the very few. In fact, as I sit here, I can't name another. But very unique in its category to be a specialist in the manufacturing of loudspeakers. We have 4 different ranges, right? From the entry level all the way up to audiophile grade sound without the audiophile grade price in the Z series. And now the new Pro series for those who want it loud and clear.
That's it. 4-car application. In addition to that, there's the marine one, which is another story.
That's gonna be another conversation. Yeah. But if you guys want to learn about it, this is the episode for you to kind of dial in what you should be carrying for your shop that best suits your needs, and all the tools to sell it. I think we covered it pretty well. So, on that note, Harry, always a gentleman, always a specialist. We thank you to always thank you to have you on. And
very happy to be here with you, Ben. It was fun. See you next time.
Take care, Harry. And Mr. Robert. Well,
yes,
I think the job and the mission is good. This is the episode about Pioneer speakers. I think we covered it.
Yes, really. And please, dealers, customers, take time to have a discussion together. Don't jump on the speakers 30 seconds after starting to chat. Take time to enjoy the time. Take time to your customers. Ask what they are listening, what they want to recreate, what they love when they listen to music. And then you can select the good speakers for them.
And use this information to demonstrate that you are the specialist, and that's why they're coming to you. You know what you're talking about. And this is the type of training that you need to have. So thank you so much again, Robert.
Thanks again.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Take care. All right. That was awesome. Pioneer, serious about speakers. You should take a look at that. I mean, maybe some of you already carry Pioneer head units and amplifiers and whatnot and already know this, but for others, this might be an eye-opening one. Lots of great product to choose from, some incredible support, and obviously backed by some manufacturer specialty expertise that I think is very unique in the industry. So on that note, I want to wish everybody a fantastic weekend. It is Friday. Get out there, enjoy the fall. I hate to say it, snow's coming soon and the freaking time change is coming soon. But before that happens, enjoy the weekend. I'm your host, Ben Wu. This was CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. Have a good one, guys. Until next time, we connect.